Okay, well, it seems like there is someone stronger than Accelerator, or used to be stronger than him, and that is, yeah, just the former #1 level 5. So yeah, let's see what this is, and maybe someone that, yeah, I haven't gotten introduced to yet, maybe, but I probably might have at this point by now. Yeah, I mean, I've just dived into New Testament and all that at this point. And actually, I need to get into, yeah, because Genesis is after, so yeah, I've touched on that a little bit, but it's like, yeah, some of the characters in there, I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't even know who that is. Yeah, it just looks so different. That just looks like way in the future, you know, like, yeah, if the anime, yeah, we just got an announcement for, like, yeah, what, season 4 of Index. Now it's like, yeah, it seems like that type of content would be season 7 or something, season 8, I don't even know, for Genesis. But other than that, I think that should be it. So I'm gonna just start this up. Let's see who this is. Hope you guys will enjoy this, and let's just get this reaction started.
The Mental Out manga sure has been cooking some spicy new lore regarding the previous generation of level 5 Espers. Specifically the Esper who was ranked #1 before Accelerator. In this video, I'll be talking about everything we know so far about the former #1, who is now split up into 2 cubes of shadow metal, and my theories regarding Espers and the imaginary number school district. In chapter 17 of the manga, we find out some of the backstory of the #1 Esper, who we will call a cube from now on for convenience, and their OP ability known as Synthesized Grid. Despite the cube's amnesia about their past while they had a human form, they were seemingly attacked and remember their body bursting. In addition to 2 figures, Aleister Crowley and his personal assassin for extraordinary threats to Academy City, and top doggo Kihara Noken. Meaning it is possible that Aleister decided to kill the former #1 for an unknown reason. Maybe Aleister thought they were too dangerous, or was simply not needed anymore in his plan. What is interesting though is that Aleister appears with his blasting rod, which we saw in World War III, implying that Aleister may have sent another version of himself to kill the #1 directly with Noken at his side. The strange thing is that in the lore, if Aleister does fax a version of himself outside the tube, then it can be detected by Laura Stewart to confirm Aleister Crowley the Magician is still alive, which happened at the end of Index Season 3. And a spiritual item which can detect Aleister's life force or mana seemingly spans the entire world, as Aleister was detected in Russia while Laura was in England. So while it is cool and all to get an Aleister cameo in Mental Out, I really hope to God it doesn't contradict the lore and cause plot holes. After the former #1 died, they recalled that they wandered the sky of the city for a long time, and devoured the supernatural as they did, until a clash of 2 great supernatural forms produced shadow metal, which allowed the #1 to be reborn in a cubic shard of the mysterious substance. The cube also reveals its twin uses the same power, and that the former #1 was in fact split into 2 cubes when they were resurrected. The former #1 believes that their power also allowed this miracle to happen. Synthesized Grid's power controls Mimosa, small metal nanoparticles, which you may have heard of as they were used by the Professor from the Battle Royale arc, where he tried to use them to kill Kakina. Except the Synthesized Grid version seems to have Mimosa on steroids, as they are a vast improvement. Anything in the range of the Mimosa, which covers the space near the user, become bonded, entering any and all forms of matter, and being able to transform and control them, with nothing being immune. Even Esper powers are no exception. Not even something beyond the world's laws can escape it apparently, and from the way it's worded, it can also create shadow metal, unless I'm reading it wrong? The cube was not sure why a dimension was seemingly opened during its clash with the other cube in the previous chapters, and that the goal of its evil twin is to somehow restore its past self and get its revenge. Okay, first, let's discuss that ability, because goddamn, it sounds OP as hell. It may actually be stronger than Accelerator's vector control,
eating power
at least on
and
paper,
stuff,
as
bonding.
clearly we haven't seen enough of Synthesized Grid to know the full extent of it, as we have seen it being able to take over other Esper powers, with it stated to affect things beyond the laws of the world. Then I think that's actually confirmation that the grid may be able to influence dark matter, but it could turn into a tug of war between the cube and Kakina for control. But would it be able to counter Accelerator's invisible vector shield? If it can, I think it would make Synthesized Grid a prime contender for the most powerful Esper ability in the entire Toaru franchise. If it functions by being able to affect AIM fields, which I do have a theory about, then it could potentially infect Accelerator's shield and possibly disable it, allowing him to be hit. Alternatively, if I'm to play devil's advocate, Mimosa have vectors, so you could argue that these nanobot particles will be reflected away before they could take over the shield.
Yeah, true.
Which makes things a lot more complicated.
But
Let me know
yeah,
down
complicated.
below how you think the fight would go down. Who would win, the Cube or Accelerator? Also, you should definitely subscribe if you want to stay up to date with any news regarding the previous level 5.
Or imagine the
as I'll
Cube
definitely
with an
make
actual
videos
body,
where we get
though.
more info.
Able to
What
move
I
around
find
and
even
stuff.
more interesting about the Cube is that somehow, after losing their body and seemingly dying, they were reincarnated into Shadow Metal. And I can already feel the Isekai web novelist taking notes from this. And yes, I have a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory about how the former number 1 was able to do this. So the fact they mentioned that they wandered the sky of the city after death, and the clash with its twin caused a dimension to briefly be revealed, I have come to a conclusion. This has to be the imaginary number school district, aka the city of Shimmers, which acts as a sort of parallel dimension contained to Academy City only, and formed by the many AIM fields of the Espers that dwell in the city. I believe the sky of the city actually references the dimension itself, and that somehow the imaginary number school district absorbs the personal realities of deceased Espers. A bold claim, I know, but let me cook. This is not even the first time we have seen an Esper's power be used after their death, with the most notorious example being the coffins from a certain scientific accelerator, where the bodies of dead Espers were placed into mechas, which somehow were able to use their ability which they had when they were alive, but boosted even stronger by the machine. It always made me wonder though, how could a corpse with an inactive dead brain be even able to manifest and sustain a personal reality, which is a requirement to have an Esper power? And I suppose the Cube may have our answer. Another instance of this occurs in New Testament, so skip here if you don't want to be spoiled beyond Index.
To skip to
3.
XX,
Kakina's
okay.
body was almost entirely destroyed by a berserk accelerator, with the machine known as Dark Legacy somehow keeping his brain alive, which then allowed him to rebuild his entire body with dark matter. But when Accelerator and Mugano were killing Kakina clones left, right and center without a trace, it is almost guaranteed that they destroyed his biological brain before he kept replacing it with a dark matter one. And yet this made no difference. Even without a brain of any kind, Kakina's personal reality would somehow still exist. As long as a single atom of dark matter was still there, he would be able to fully regenerate. One passage in particular from New Testament 6 grabs my attention. Academy City had Espers who could transform their appearance. Well, this went well beyond that. Was his brain creating his powers, or were his powers preserving their existence by creating his brain?
The
Was
powers
he
have a
alive
mind of
or
its own.
dead? Was this a dream or reality? This implies Kakina was somehow between life and death itself, and yet had no problems with using his ability to a potential that surpassed himself even when he had his natural body. Therefore, I believe Kakina's personal reality may have been supported by the imaginary number school district itself, as the former number 1 Esper was also able to recreate a physical body, albeit a cube by the Shadow Metal in Railgun T, after their body was destroyed. It makes perfect sense to me. Now, this may even extend to the personal realities of the Espers that are still alive, as they are the ones who support its existence with the AIM fields. Remember how Motoharu questioned Alistair about the true nature of the imaginary number school district? He said, "Are you trying to recreate an artificial heaven?" With the dimensions seemingly supporting Espers who have either lost their bodies or are deceased, could the imaginary number school district be a heaven for the souls of Espers, with the true nature of their souls being their personal realities? And if you remember, there are many strange inhabitants that dwell in the dimension which Kazakiri Hyoka can influence to an extent, but cannot interact with fully. What if these strange ghost-like people are actually the personal realities of deceased Espers in the city, and that is why they are stored and act as scientific souls, guarded by an angel in the form of Kazakiri? Honestly, I think my theories can be kinda stupid at times, but somehow I feel confident about this one, and I find it so intriguing. I'm sure more answers will reveal themselves soon anyway. Let me know your thoughts about my theory and synthesized grid. Do you think I'm completely right, or am I off the mark? And if you want to learn more
I just looked at that one.
5 Espers, click on these videos on
Okay, and that is it for this one. So yeah, I would definitely have to, especially at a part with the what was it, World War III, yeah, her there. I'd have to do that, and I think season 1 with all that imaginary stuff, because like, yeah, I kind of remember, but it's like, yeah, I feel like I would need to like actually look at that again. But no, I haven't forgotten everything though. But I don't know, I mean, it seems reasonable. I mean, it's not like he's just way far off from how I'm seeing it. And then like all these events and stuff, it's like, yeah, it's happening like, I was about to say recently. I'm thinking about the seasons. Yes, it's still like a whole entire New Testament and all that. So happened like recently around like the Railgun T events and all. Yeah, Toma, Gunha versus what was it, 5.3, level 5.3, Misaka. So yeah, definitely around there is where I'm like seeing all of this taking place. And then other things that may have happened like a little bit beforehand or, you know, after. Now this, yeah, I'm gonna need a little bit more information. I mean, I know he kind of explained like the ability, but still I'm thinking like, yeah, that's weird. Like, yeah, if it does have these vectors, it's like, yeah, you can kind of calculate and then kind of, you know, counter that. But then it's like it kind of doesn't, like, yeah, it doesn't, let's see, like apply to the laws of physics, or let's see, beyond this world's laws, or something similar to that. Okay, let's see. Bonding power practically takes control of the entire space around the user. Okay, and then yeah, it's also like having to figure out, is it just the like field, the aim field? Is it to where they just literally can do whatever they want, and no like field or anything like required, they just literally can control that space? Enter all forms of matter and then transform and control them. Okay, well, I have to get a little bit more into that. But so that ability, I mean, sounds, yeah, I don't know. And pretty much nobody is going to be able to do anything to that besides, well, yeah, Kakine or Accelerator, you know. Because Kakine, I mean, his power, I mean, it doesn't even apply to the laws of physics either. I mean, himself. I guess I'll look into it more. See if I can look on the wiki, I guess. Yeah, because that's actually where I'll be looking for the other abilities and all that. Maybe Reddit, maybe? Yeah, maybe on there. But the wiki, I mean, yeah, perfectly. Especially for Accelerator, had everything listed. I'm like, okay, here we go with the vectors. Here's, you know, what he can do and all. But other than that, I hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure you like, subscribe, and yeah, just see you guys in the next one.